I don't hear him.
Is
Can't
Kim's
hear you,
microphone
Ken.
on?
Lost you.
Here.
There's no sound.
Microphone only. Thank you. Let's try it this way. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, I think I got it locked down. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, call the House Finance Committee meeting to order. As Chair of the House Finance Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with House Rule 67 and the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically and hybrid. This is a public hearing on bills referred to the committee and scheduled in the House calendar for today. An executive session may be held on any bill referred to the committee. Please note that there is no physical location for member of the public to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that all members of the committee and select legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom electronic meeting platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting by the Zoom platform or by telephone. All necessary access information has been made available in the House calendar and through the electronic calendar on the General Court website. The notice for this meeting complies with House Rules and RSA 91-A. Anyone who has a problem accessing the meeting should call 271-3600 or email hcs@leg.state.nh.us. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Clerk will call the roll.
Can you hear me?
Hold the blue button down.
Yeah, well, I was trying to lock it. All right.
Doesn't seem to lock.
Can you make that lock? Representative Ober.
I'm here in Hudson. I'm alone in the house at the moment. Russ is out jogging. I don't know what the cats are doing.
All right. Representative Umberger.
Yes, I'm in my home in Kearsarge. I'm alone in the room. My husband is in the house. Representative Weiler, we cannot hear a thing.
The last voice I heard was Karen's saying we couldn't hear anything. And I agree with Karen.
Yeah, I think we're showing why remote meetings don't work very well.
Is this part of the plan?
No?
It's working perfectly.
Well, I think everybody's here except the clerk and the chair.
Hey, Mickey Landegren, would you speak up? Because I think you may be the only other person in the LOB, and maybe the LOB is the problem.
Yeah, I'm sure you can hear me. I'm actually over in our office at the State House right now. I'm trying to coordinate with any technical help over in the LOB. I think there was an account set up that the audio was picking up on and it logged off, and I'm trying to pull it back in now. So
Yes,
hang
sir.
in there.
Thank you.
Back to Representative Emmerich.
So there we go.
Emmerich is in his home office in Hampton.
Okay, Representative Uriff,
Present, alone in my home office.
Representative Edwards,
Present, I'm in my home office in Auburn with the office door shut.
all right, Representative Lynn,
Yes, present. I'm in my office, home office in Wyndham. My wife is elsewhere in the house.
okay, thank you. Representative Wallner,
I'm at my house in Concord and I am alone.
Representative Norgren,
I'm in my house in Hanover and I'm alone in the dining room.
Representative Bucco,
Yes, I'm present in my home in Conway and no one else is in the room.
Representative Leishman,
Representative is filling in, Representative Leishman.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that name.
Grasses.
Grasses, okay. Robbie in Rochester. Very good. Representative Hatch,
I'm here in the finance room.
Representative Rogers,
I'm here at my house in Concord with my dog Romeo.
We're four out there.
Representative Walls,
I am here in my home. My husband is elsewhere in the house. I'm alone in this room.
thank you. Representative Heath,
Good morning, Mary Heath, home alone in Manchester.
very good. Representative Murray,
Kate Murray is here in Newcastle with the dog Hershey, and my husband is downstairs.
and Representative Weiler.
I'm here in the committee room.
All right, we have unanimous attendance.
All right. We have a quorum, we have everybody in. First item on the agenda is Senate Bill 77. Call upon division.
Mr. Chair, your audio is way down. We can just barely hear you.
I don't think these are working, Ken.
All right, you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. First item on the agenda for 10 o'clock is Senate Bill 77 FN. That would be a subject matter in Division 1. I'll call upon Chairman of Division 1, Representative Ober, to make a motion or,
Mr. Chairman, we're not in exec, we're in a public hearing.
all right. Public, thank you very
I'd be
much.
Happy to make a motion, but I think we need to have the public hearing first.
All right. I do not have a list of any member of the public. Does do the people controlling this from LBA, do you have the list?
Yep, we've got Senator D'Alessandro, Senator Lou D'Alessandro here as the prime sponsor to introduce the bill.
Very good.
Here.
Senator D'Alessandro, you're
Thank you, Mr.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and distinguished members of the committee. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
First, we got to
come before
unmute
you.
him.
He's unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to come before you to testify for Senate Bill 77. I sponsored the same bill last year, which passed the Senate by voice vote.
Senator,
Yes.
all right, start at the beginning. Saw you
Okay.
moving, but, all right.
All right, are you
You're-
ready?
I'm ready now. Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure, sir. Thank you, Kenny. I sponsored this bill, this very same bill last year, which passed the Senate by voice vote. The Sheriff's Association requested me to sponsor this bill. Their fees for service have not been increased for more than 10 years. They're asking for a moderate increase to cover their own increases in the cost of fuel, wages, mailing, the cost of cruises, and every other aspect of writ services. The sheriffs will be here to testify on it and got a favorable vote in the Senate, and I'm hoping you will support the bill. Now, I understand Representative Ober has an amendment to offer, and I'm fine with the amendment. I hope she's run it by the sheriffs, and they're fine with it also. But again, thanks for your time, and would appreciate your support on this piece of legislation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Any questions for the senator? I see a hand raised by Representative Ober.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say that, yes, the senator has seen the amendment, and the amendment has been seen by 2 county sheriffs and got a favorable approval rating. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions from the committee? Okay, any further, Mickey, is there anybody else waiting in the public to testify?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and have a great American Day.
Thank you, Senator.
We do have 2 additional folks signed up to testify. First is Sheriff Dominic Ricciardi, and he is pulled in and able to speak, followed by Marissa Chase, and I will bring her in once the sheriff is completed.
All right, Sheriff, you're recognized to speak to the Finance Committee.
Good morning, Chairman Weiler and members of the committee. My name is Dominic Ricciardi. I'm the Carroll County Sheriff and President of the New Hampshire Sheriff's Association. I'm here to testify in favor of Senate Bill 77 Finance, relative to the fees and services of the sheriffs and deputy sheriffs. We're asking for a minor increase of service fees. These fees have not been increased since about 2010. Inflation obviously has raised the cost of fuel, wages, mailings, cost of cruises, every other aspect of the writ of services. Costs have all been absorbed by the taxpayers in each county, and as sheriffs responsible for these services, we feel it's time to increase the fees so that the sheriff some of the costs with the actual entities that are using the services. The average increase is about $5 per service. The postage increase will reflect a more accurate cost to mail some of the packets we receive. This will offset the cost from the taxpayers to the person requesting the service. There is a mechanism in place for people who need this service to seek an exception upon motion to the court to have the fees waived. We feel the proposed increase are modest, and we ask that you find this ought to pass, and thank you for your consideration. If you have any questions, I'd be welcome to answer.
Any questions for the sheriff? And I have a question for you, Sheriff. Did you get a look at the amendment?
I personally have not.
What the amendment, I believe, does, and you'll hear about it shortly if you stay on, is to put the funding into the counties to make the decision on how much to pay the sheriff. So it would be part of a direct part of the county budget, which more or less it is now, but the increase would be allowed by the county delegation. So that's more or less, I believe, what the amendment will say, and we'll be coming to that later on. We have another person waiting. Any questions for the Sheriff Ricciardi? Seeing none, thank you, Sheriff. If you want to stay on, you'll be able to hear the amendment.
Thank you.
And Mickey, the next person.
I have Marissa Chase here, and I'll just remind if anyone else is in the attendees wishing to testify to raise your virtual hand. That's all we have signed up ahead of time is Marissa is our final testifier.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Chase, welcome to Finance Committee.
Thank you, Representative, and thank you, Mickey. It's good to see you. For the record, my name is Marissa Chase. I'm the Executive Director for the New Hampshire Association for Justice, which is a statewide professional association of trial attorneys. And we thank Senator D'Alessandro for prime sponsoring this bill and for the Sheriff's Association for working with us. When this bill was introduced by Senator D'Alessandro last year, we had requested an amendment that went through unanimously that just simply codified what most sheriffs do in practice anyway, which is if a sheriff is serving papers at the same location, the same address, but multiple people are at that same address that are all being served, that the sheriff only charge mileage for that scenario once, which is, again, widespread practice anyway. We heard from some of our members, our attorneys are typically the ones that utilize this system for having sheriffs serve papers. So this was our request. And again, we thank the sheriffs and Senator D'Alessandro for being amenable to that. Be happy to do my best to answer any questions you may have. And thank you all again.
Thank you, Ms. Chase. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Chase? Seeing none. Are there any further people with their hands up, Mickey?
I see no more folks wishing to testify on this bill.
Okay, I'll recognize Representative Ober.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, but do you not have to open the exec session?
Well, that's true.
Is it your plan to exec? Because I would be amenable to making a motion.
Well, I think it's also proper to introduce the amendment during the public hearing so that people that there can be familiar with it. And Mickey, if you are able to put it on the screen or have a presentation so everybody can look at it.
I actually don't have the amendment, Representative Weiler. I can try to track it down, or if
Mr. Hoffman has the amendment, Mickey.
okay, I can.
It's in the LBA folder. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I have it as well, Mickey. I can screen share.
All right.
Okay, there it is.
Oh, okay.
So this amendment keeps everything in Senator D'Alessandro's bill the exact same. However, it adds lines 5 through 10, which gives the county delegations, and the county delegations are the ones who control the budgets in the county, working with the county commissioners, the right to vote once annually to increase the fees by the Consumer Price Index for the Northeast region as published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics the previous June. And that's all it does. It has been seen by 2 counties, sheriffs in 2 counties, and they were in favor of it, as was Senator D'Alessandro, as he mentioned.
Okay, if you'd page down a little bit so that clerk can read the amendment number.
It's up at the top.
Yeah, there we go. 1212. Okay. Any questions from the committee on the amendment? I see Representative Erf has his hand up. Representative Erf, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I read line 1, and maybe I just misunderstand how this was worded, but it says amend the bill by replacing all after the enacting clause with the following.
Yes, that's a new paragraph at the bottom of the bill where the effective date was. That's why line 11 appears effective date again. And line 11 was modified to say it will take effect 60 days after passage, because the feedback from the sheriffs and the 2 counties checked was that they could not take effect immediately. They had to change their systems.
Okay, so it's not replacing the entire bill.
No, it's adding a new paragraph. Keith, line 3, new paragraph at the bottom. And the paragraph is 12, line 5.
Okay.
I guess we might have to change that because it does say amend the bill by replacing all after the enacting clause, which would take out, including the mileage amendment that was previously added about if you got multiple people at the same address, you only charge mileage once. And I can see removing some of the other fee language, but that, we probably want to make sure that gets in there as well. Anything further? All right, so. we understand-
Representative Weiler, I have a question, Mary Heath.
All right, Representative Heath for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is, with regard to, we had a statement from Marissa Chase and also the sheriffs. But this bill, if enacted and passed, would delay the whole process out at least another year. Am I understanding that correctly? By shifting the authority to the counties, we're delaying the process because we're in that budget cycle right now, and this bill would not be passed within that time frame. So could someone just respond to my comments, please?
Okay, Representative Ober, did you understand the question?
Well, Mr. Chairman, have we mailed hard copies of the bills to people so they can look at them? Because as far as I know, you can only show one thing at a time.
I believe everybody here has gotten an email copy of 77 as it was introduced.
Yeah,
Or as
the
it
trouble
came.
is you can only look at one thing on your screen at a time. And did they get hard copies so they can look at them? No.
Anybody not have a hard copy that would, by a show of hands? We have some on the table for the people in the room.
I can see both on my screen together.
Very good. All right, Sheriff Ricciardi had a question.
Thank you. My question would be, if I understand this right, the amendment would put the cost back onto the county.
Yeah.
As far as raising the, like the last representative said, as far as raising the funds in the county's budget instead of the state's budget.
Are you saying that the county doesn't pay these bills now?
No, this money is reimbursed by the state.
Okay,
This is a RSA with state. So yes, the county does raise money, but it would have been going into effect July 2021. So now it is correct that now you're putting it off, not just 60 days, but unless the county delegations have an emergency meeting to redo the budget, you're putting it off till next year.
thank you. Further comments from the sheriffs? Representative Lynn.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I want to make sure that I'm not confused about something. Am I to understand that if we pass the bill and pass this amendment, that what we would be doing is approving the fee increases for now, so to speak, and then saying that going forward in future years, the increases could happen sort of on a regular basis, so to speak, if the county convention approved it. But that for this year, the fees that we approve in the unamended portion of the bill would go into effect.
I believe you're correct, Representative Lynn. Does anybody else see it a different interpretation? All right, nobody
Chairman?
else? Yes,
I have
Representative Over.
emailed Mr. Kane, because this amendment was done by Nancy Levinas, who unfortunately is not on the call. And she was instructed that the intention of the bill was to add the ability of the counties to do that, leave the existing fees alone, leave the existing mileage alone, and to change the effective date. However, without the appropriate LBA people on the call, I'm not sure why Mickey's here without having talked to her, but he obviously hadn't even seen the amendment. I don't know what to say, but I did email Mr. Kane to clarify that Mrs. Levinas had not made an egregious error here, but I don't know because neither one is available.
Well, at this time, the amendment causes confusion by replacing all after the enacting clause, which I don't think is the intent. So we may have to withdraw the amendment and have it redrafted, maybe for another day, and pass. If we pass the bill as it's written, then it could.
We need to have Mr. Kane chime in on this because my county is not willing to have the bill passed as amended. Hillsborough County has as Representative Heath knows, has a serious problem in that we are the only county with 2 different superior courts, with our sheriffs going in 2 different ways all the time, pulled by court requirements, plus adding this on. So my county is not in favor of the bill as drafted by Senator Del Alessandro, and in fact hadn't even been asked about it. They're not opposed to it, but without this language, they are not in favor of having this at all. Because it doesn't give them enough relief. This is the first time in 11 years these fees have been changed and they're being moved by $5.
I've got my hand up.
All right. Mike Hoffman, you have an input? I see the name Hoffman. I see the Representative Lynn still had his hand up. Did you want to say something further, Representative Lynn?
No, I'm sorry. I just forgot to lower my hand, but I've done that now. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Representative Wallner for a question. Oh, she had her hand up and then she left. All right. Mike Hoffman. Have you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wasn't involved in drafting this, but I can get something to OLS quickly if the committee would like to change this.
Yes, we don't want the language that says amend the bill by replacing all after the enacting clause. It should say after number 10, I get, or what's the last paragraph? Paragraph 9A, I think. So it should probably be 10 or no, it should be 12. Although I look down here and it says all after paragraph. Am I seeing the whole bill here? I think so. Yeah, there it is.
So if I understand, this is a replace all, and that was not the intent. We want to add this to the end of the existing bill.
Yes.
No, Mike, that was not the intent. I have a series of email exchanges with Nancy about this, and she says it only adds to it. So I don't know what is going on because I questioned her, and then she said she wasn't available this morning. So I can look at my email, but it doesn't help not having it here. The idea was to leave the bill as it was and to add the ability for the counties once a year to also raise the wages or the fees, because as I said, Hillsborough County has a horrible time with those 2 superior court houses when every other county only has to deal with one of them. So I don't know, and I know Nancy wasn't available today, but I don't know where she is. I thought she might be with the Senate.
The other confusion is that the bill, the last Roman numeral on the bill is Roman 9, and this is Roman 12. So what happened to Roman 10 and 11? I believe the amendment should be number 10, Roman 10, rather than Roman 12. And we don't want to amend, we want to amend the bill by replacing all after Roman 9B. So if we can table this discussion for now and come back to it later in this meeting, then that will work out. I think if Mike Hoffman can probably make those changes and bring us a new amendment. Is everyone okay with that?
Well, Ken, we're in public session right now. Couldn't we just terminate the public hearing on SB 77?
No, I'm going to.
But we're not in exec session.
Right.
So we don't have
Right.
to table it because we're in a public hearing. We couldn't vote in public hearing.
Okay, but I wanted to recess the public hearing so I could introduce the amendment in the public hearing, which is the proper way to do it.
That's different from tabling. I agree with that.
Yes, all right. We'll recess this discussion on Senate Bill 77 until we see the new amendment. All right. And Mike Hoffman said he's gonna fix those problems. Moving on to, I believe, 1025. We have Senate Bill 82 at 1025, so we're coming to that a little bit late. And that was in Division 2. And I'll call upon Representative Umberger to discuss Senate Bill 82.
We're still in a public hearing for Senate Bill 82, Representative Weiler. We need to have the public hearing first.
Okay, this will be a public hearing on Senate Bill 82.
And I have one person signed up to speak, and that's the prime sponsor, Senator Birdsall, and she is on the call and is able to be recognized.
Very good. All right, Senator Birdsall is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, committee, for hearing Senate Bill 82. I am the prime sponsor. For the record, my name is Regina Birdsall. The state Senate Bill 17, which encompasses the towns of Derry, Hampstead, and Windham. And Senate Bill 82 was actually a holdover from last year. It had passed the Senate, passed the House. It got caught up in the omnibus bill, and apparently during the omnibus bill assembly, I would say, the wrong amendment got attached. So what Senate Bill 82 does is correct what the amendment, what the omnibus bill did last year. Basically, this is a result. The bill makes whole to those school districts who went from part-time kindergarten to full-time, and it includes the appropriation for fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021. Apparently what happened when the omnibus bill was put together, they authorized the process, but they didn't make the appropriation. So for instance, when Derry went to go to the Department of Education for their appropriation, the Department of Education couldn't appropriate it because it wasn't authorized. So Senate Bill 82 is to correct that issue. And with that, I will terminate my comments and try and answer any questions. I believe that the Department Ed may be here as well to kind of go through it as well.
Thank you, Senator. Question from Representative Heath.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question for the senator is, will this bill include all the towns that have adopted full-day kindergarten in the event, or are there other towns that have not yet adopted full-time kindergarten? So would they be included in this process if this bill were to pass?
Yes, any of the towns, and I'm sorry, I'm having trouble scrolling on my, but it should encompass all of the towns that went from part-time to full-time. And I think that's includes Chester, Epsom, Derry, Salem, and there are, I think, a total of either 5 or 8. And if you look at the bill and the fiscal note, I believe it lists all those schools.
Thank you, Senator. If I may, Mr. Chair?
Follow-up question.
Senator, do you know if there are other towns that have not yet adopted full-day kindergarten?
That I do not know. That's probably a question that maybe the Department of Ed can answer.
Thank you, Senator.
And also, this is out of the 2021 budget, not out of the future budget, but the past
Right.
budget. So we'll discuss with the Department of Ed whether they have the appropriate money or not when we get a chance to bring them on board. Any further questions for the senator? Okay, thank you, Regina.
Thank you.
All right.
So I would ask that if anyone in the attendees would like to testify, please raise their virtual hand. I do have one hand raised, John Pascarelli. I'll bring him in. I'll
Thank
also answer Representative Heath's question there. As of this time, there are no other full day programs known besides what's in the fiscal note. However, this bill would provide funding for them in perpetuity should any come on board. If you'd like to hear from the department on that, or if you have any other questions, they are here too. I can pull them in, Mr. Chair, just let me know.
I guess it's appropriate we hear from the department next.
So I do have John Pascarelli here, a member of the public, I believe, who was looking to testify, and I do have Mark Manganello from the Department of Education to answer any questions.
Hello, members of the committee. Mark Manganello with the Department of Education.
All right, Mr. Manganiello, did I get that right?
Close.
Is this money in the budget that you have presently for this present fiscal year?
Yep. Thank you for the question, Chair. Division 2 put Senate Bill 82 into the budget, so it is currently in House Bill 2, which includes the language from Senate Bill 82 and the appropriation. I did some research this morning looking at schools that potentially are moving to a full day kindergarten for state fiscal year 22, and currently no schools at the moment are moving to full day kindergarten. So the appropriations you have in the budget at this moment are appropriate and should be enough to cover any future expenses as we know them at the moment.
Thank you. Anything further to add? Okay, we'll hear from Mr. Pascarelli.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm kind of off topic with you folks' discussion. What I would like to do is talk about broadband. I mean, this is also a meeting about broadband, correct?
Not yet. I've got them all on a schedule, and the broadband is scheduled for Senate Bill 85, and that's scheduled for 10:50. So we're a little early on that yet. At 10:50, if you stay around and listen, when I get to Senate Bill 85, that will be the next bill after we complete the work on this one. So this is all about the kindergarten funding. So we'll welcome your comments when I begin the hearing on Senate Bill 85. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything further on Senate Bill 82? I believe that Representative Umberger has taken care of it, and if there's no further comments or no further people waiting to comment, Mickey, is there anybody else with a hand up in the
Representative Heath has a question, I believe.
Okay, Representative Heath.
Thank you, Representative Weiler. I just want to ascertain that if in the event that future schools come on board with full day kindergarten, then in fact, this current situation that we put in the budget in Division 2 will in fact be a reality for those new towns.
Mickey, can you answer that? I believe there was previous testimony to that effect.
I can answer that, but I'll let Mark answer it so you can hear it from the department.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to
Mr.
confirm, Representative Heath, there's appropriation authority. It says they're on after, and there's warrant authority to continue the funding if other communities do end up joining full day kindergarten.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Further comments or questions on Senate Bill 82? Seeing none. We'll go into exec session on Senate Bill 82. since we've had all the testimony and everybody has seen the printed copy of it, I'll entertain a motion from Representative Umberger in the executive session.
Thank you. And I would like to say that when Senator Birdsall brought this over to us, we certainly felt that there were sufficient dollars available. And actually, the vote from the committee on the funding of these projects was 7-0. So we had unanimous agreement on funding this program. So the schools, the kindergartens that were affected are Chester, Salem, Wyndham, Brookline, Derry, and Epsom. So if I could, I will turn it over to Representative Lynn to make the motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair, I would make, since the money is already included in the budget, I would make a motion that this bill is, should be ITL'd, inexpedient to legislate.
Second.
Okay, a motion from Representative Lynn for inexpedient, a second from Representative Petrie. Further discussion.
This was an ITO.
That the motion is inexpedient to legislate. Further discussion. I see Representative Heath has her hand up.
Now, my question is this. Thank you, Mr. Chair. If in fact the budget does not pass, and we end up with a continuing resolution, would that mean that those kindergarten programs would not get this funding if we ITL'd this bill?
Well, it would also mean that we wouldn't pass the budget if those two things happened. Or obviously, if we ITL this and the budget does not pass, then it could be delayed. It's unlikely that everything in the budget will be removed, but some things will be removed. And, I believe that the Finance Committee will be aware of the effect if this were removed. So,
Mr. Chair, would it be better to retain the bill until we know that the budget passed? I completely agreed with the ITL because we did put it in the budget, but my concern right now is in the event that the budget doesn't pass, we're going to leave all these towns without that funding. And I'm just very concerned about that, especially right now. Should we wait?
all right. So if we do retain the bill, it won't provide them the funding until next year, likely, because we'd have to retain the bill and reintroduce it for next year, but at least there would be a chance that it would be passed possibly in January by the House. So, yeah, that's a scenario. Representative Hatch. If we tabled it, we would have to have it out by the deadline. And we wouldn't know at the deadline whether or not the budget had passed. So tabling wouldn't do much. Okay, anybody else have a comment?
If I could, Mickey,
Representative Umberger.
yes, if I could ask a question of Mr. Landrigan, please.
Go ahead.
Yes. Mickey, if we retain this bill, we should in fact recommend that the funding go away from the budget because we have put it in because we felt that it was the right thing to do. But if we are now going to decide to retain it, then that means the funding should not be there. Is that correct?
If it's the intent of the committee to support these payments to these districts, the fact that you've passed it in House Bill 2 would provide that level of funding, those appropriation dollars. If you wanted to retain Senate Bill 82 as a backup plan in case something does happen to House Bill 2, you wouldn't need to alter the funding in House Bill 2 in any way.
Okay, thank you. I just feel that certainly in my mind, there is no question that this will be included in the Senate budget. And if in fact, the budget doesn't pass, there'll be lots of things that that aren't there. And so I would certainly recommend that we ITL it, knowing full well when we come to a committee of conference that this will be, one thing that we will insist upon. And because it is catching us up from errors that were made by the last legislature in 20 and 21. So I think that ITL is the right way to go.
Thank you. Representative Wallner has her hand up.
Thank you. I guess historically, I think what we've done is when we have put things like this in the budget, we have then retained the bill just in case there is the chance that the budget didn't pass or the particular item was removed from the budget and no agreement could be made. I mean, I agree that this one I think is pretty safe in the budget, but I do think it's kind of a backup plan. And then we come back in what we've done in the past is these retained bills. We've come back in the fall, and if the budget's passed and if they're there, we then have moved in inexpedience. It seems like we've sort of skipped a step. So just if there was any chance that it wouldn't be included in the budget, and we don't really know that for sure right now, I would go for retain and then come back in the fall and do inexpedient if in fact the budget has passed.
Thank you. Representative Ober has her hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The former chair of finance is correct that there have been times when we have retained bills. In fact, I have Representative Bucco's bill retained on water because I was not certain that this year I could put it in, and I knew it was a bill that should have been filed in the second year of the biennium, not the first year with the budget. But in two previous occasions, when we knew we were going to put Representative Bucco's bill in the budget, which we affectionately called the Bucco bucks, we did go ahead and ITL the bill right away. And the blurb said that it was ITL because the money was going to be in the budget. So we have done both things. I am in supportive of the motion of Division 2. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Wallner. Still had your hand up.
Sorry, I forgot to lower it.
Okay, so the situation before us as we exec this bill is we have a motion and a second for inexpedient. Either the motion remains, and that's the one we vote on, or it's withdrawn. And if I don't see an opportunity, I don't see the hand up for the person making the motion. So the motion before us that we are voting on is inexpedient. The clerk will call the roll on that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion is inexpedient. If you're in favor, you'll say aye or yes, or if you're opposed, you make some negative statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Ober,
Yes.
Representative Umberger,
Yes.
Representative Renzullo for Danielson, Representative Thaburish.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Uriff,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Edwards,
Yes.
Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Wallner,
No.
Representative Nogren,
No.
Representative Bucco,
No.
Representative Leishman,
Representative Grassi votes no.
Representative Hatch. Representative Rogers.
No.
Representative Walsh.
No.
Representative Heath.
No.
Representative Murray.
No.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 12-9 in favor of the motion.
The motion of inexpedient to legislate is adopted, and we will not put this on the consent calendar. Thank you. All right, now we're ready for Senate Bill 85, and it is the proper time. We'll call upon, it's a Division 1 bill. We'll call upon Representative Ober for a motion.
It's a public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you. I'm moving ahead too fast. All right,
Yeah.
I'm open a public hearing on Senate Bill 85. Who do we have ready to introduce the bill, Mickey?
I believe we have Senator Bradley here. He's the prime sponsor to introduce it. We also have Senator Khan, Chris Norwood, and Maura Weston to testify. If anyone else beyond that is wishing to testify, I would just ask you to raise your virtual hand. And I am going to allow Andrea and Jonah to take over the hosting duties here. So please defer to them. They'll assist with calling on folks to testify.
Thank you. All right. We'll call upon Senator Bradley to introduce the bill.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Finance Committee. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. I'm pleased to be here and supporting Senate Bill 85. I want to take this opportunity to thank the broad range of sponsors of this bill, including Representative Umberger on your committee. If the pandemic has shown us anything, it is that our state, needs to enhance broadband access in many areas of the state that are underserved or unserved by broadband providers, whether it's for telemedicine, education purposes, telecommuting, staying in touch with family and friends, the value of your home. Broadband is absolutely an essential commodity in this day and age. When broadband began to be established, obviously, throughout our state, it's done in a very different model than telephone service was in the past or electric service was in the past, where universal service was socialized through regulated rates and the entire spectrum of regulation. Broadband has been different. I would argue that because of its difference, we have had a much more innovative and much more cost-effective and technology forward-thinking application of the installation of broadband. But because of the difficulty in some instances of bringing it to more rural areas of the state, there are pockets of New Hampshire that do not have broadband. So given that there has been an influx of potential federal money, I thought it was important to introduce Senate Bill 85 to create a matching grant program that would utilize this federal money matched by either provider dollars or local efforts, whether it be counties, municipalities, or communication districts, to facilitate the construction of better broadband access. So the bill starts with a findings clause. It calls on the Office of Strategic Initiatives, and I know that Representative Ober has an amendment that I support to, if the governor's proposal on the Department of Energy moves forward, which you folks have, I think, wisely included in your budget, and it's my hope the Senate will too, but that Representative Ober's amendment would put the Department of Energy in charge appropriately so of managing the grants. There is rulemaking provided. Let me just touch briefly on the way the bill has devised the percentages. Given that there has been an influx or will be an influx of federal dollars, I thought it was appropriate that it be a 50-50 match that could be either state funds or state funds using federal funds for the 50% match. And then a process where providers or, as I said before, municipalities, counties, or communication districts would provide the other 50% of the funding. That's basically how it works. I think the need is there. There were a couple of amendments that the Senate added to it, and one more amendment that myself and Senator Khan will propose for your consideration. One of the amendments is to allow the planning process for access to these funds. There is a whole process that goes into place before wires can be strung. Knowing which households need service is an integral part of that, and there are costs involved with planning. And then there was, in the initial version of the bill, a clause that said the upload speed should be 25 and the download speed 3. The Senate amendment it to language that said promotes a faster service up and including to a gigabyte of service. Let me just touch, Mr. Chairman, on the amendment. The amendment makes it clear that any construction that was undertaken as of January 1 of this year shall be eligible for funding. Some of us have heard that some towns are holding off on planning or proceeding, hoping to get this grant funding. This makes sure that they can move forward while knowing that the grants will be there. So happy to answer any questions, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. We have a question from Representative Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I have two questions that are related for Senator Bradley, if I may. The first one is, I understand the appeal of having faster connectivity than the minimum set by the federal government with the 25 and the 3 going up to a gig instead. I get it. But when we do that, don't we lose the matching part of this? And we have created effectively our own program where we have to go it alone because their standards are so much lower than ours?
I do not believe that that's the case. I mean, I could be corrected if I'm wrong, but we never heard, Representative, that kind of testimony from any of the experts, from any of the cable providers, or any of the public. If that's the case, then we might have to make a change, but I don't believe it is. Ask that question of some of the folks that will follow me, though.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I do think it's a concern. We're looking at the broadband issue in Auburn, so I've read the language, and it just is a concern of mine, sir. The other is the current law that we've set this up on, I understand, has the municipality or the communications network issue a bond, and then that bond gets paid back over 20 years. Would this matching fund with the state monies also be paid back over 20 years because of the municipal bond?
So the way that this is structured to work, Representative, is that it be a 50-50 cost share. So the state obviously would take the lead, but using, especially right now, as there is going to be a lot of federal funding for 50% of the cost. I have felt that there should be participation by whether it's a town, a county, or the providers to move forward with, getting this kind of a grant. There is a bonding provision that municipalities can go forward with bonding. That was part of Senator Khan's bill, Senate Bill 170 that was passed, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, probably. I don't think that would affect how a municipality chose to finance, if they chose to finance it through a bond. Hopefully with the, kind of dollars that we're talking about, those kind of municipal bondings would not be favored, but my understanding is it would remain an option.
Thank you, Senator. I support the initiative. I'm just curious about the details. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Senator, Representative Ober for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Senator Bradley.
Good morning.
Thank you for working with me on the amendment we have to ensure that even if OSI goes away in the budget, that we can continue this program. I think I heard you say, and I got something from your assistant not too long ago, we'd already started this meeting, about an amendment that Senator Khan had. In the House, we only have one amendment per bill. I don't know how the Senate does it. So I'm a little concerned about whether, with the amendment I have, because I didn't know anything about Senator Khan's amendment until your assistant sent it to me this morning, how we would proceed with this bill.
So, Representative Ober, I think if you look at page 2 of the bill, on line 3, establishment of a challenge process.
Yep.
So Senator Khan and I are proposing, and you can fold this into your amendment, Representative Ober, would be fine. It would just say projects in the planning design, in planning design or terms negotiations and not under construction as of January 1, 2021 shall be eligible for funding. So it really is nothing more than allowing a process that had already started, that had not started construction, because some towns are waiting to be eligible for the bonds. And that would go at the end of line 6 on page 2.
Okay, my second question, if you would take a second question.
Yep.
We've been working, and I know you and Chairman Weiler and I and others have been working with the governor about the ARA funds, which we hope to have in state at some point in time. And I think this would be part of that funding. Yet I believe that part of the guidance we've gotten in the bill, although we haven't gotten guidance per se, written guidance other than what was in the bill, revolved around the fact that you could not use that money to replace existing spending. Will this impact that? And if it does, how would it impact it? Would we be replacing existing spending of some sort?
So my understanding, Representative, is this would all be new spending, similar to, what the Gopher Committee and the governor proposed last summer, that unfortunately, because of the very, very tight timelines, very little of the money could be used. This would not be replacing of existing spending, but this would be new spending on infrastructure. And as you know, in the legislation that passed Congress, infrastructure spending like water, roads, and broadband was highlighted as a allowable use. Certainly that was my understanding of how that federal legislation works.
Thank you, Senator Bradley.
Any further questions for Senator Bradley? Seeing none, Andrea, who's the next senator waiting to testify?
Senator Khan, I'll bring him in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Weiler and members of the House Finance Committee. I am Senator Jay Kahn. I represent 15 of 23 towns in Cheshire County. And thank you for hearing Senate Bill 85. I want to compliment my colleague, Senator Bradley, from the outset. He has been attentive to the testimony that's been received on this bill. He has led the way for a 24-0 vote on this in the Senate. And I'm pleased to be here to speak on its behalf. Since Senate Bill 170 was passed in 2018, there have been 7 projects completed in the state with municipal funding. It's a real stretch on communities to do this. 7 have used exclusively the bonding authority, and I believe it was 5 other projects worked their way through the latest round of CARES money that was allocated by the governor to towns or providers to improve services, at least to the minimum standards established by the FCC. So we now come to the implementation of Senate Bill 85, hopefully. And as we look forward to that, we've got quite a lineup of projects that hit the queue this last winter and spring since January 1st of 2021, with warrant articles going before towns, some of which have been passed, some of which are still pending. So there are, as of current, at least 15 projects that I'm aware of that are in the queue. 9 of those, the warrant articles have already been adopted by towns. And then the other 6 are still in process. And of those 9 projects, they are in 4 different counties. So it's not like it's just localized in towns in Cheshire County, though there are many in my district that have either used it or plan to use it in the future. I mean, these are spread into Merrimack and Hillsborough and Sullivan counties as well. And I know Senator Bradley is working in his areas of the state that are interested in taking advantage of a broadband match project fund and its availability. So where we are currently is that these projects are not following through to signing of contracts and bonding because they really do want to be eligible for the matching grants. It can make a huge difference. Many of these towns in my area that I'm aware of, there's like 700 people in the towns. So they are not have great investments for a provider necessarily. They cover wide areas, but small service populations. This is why the matching grant becomes so important if we are going to really try to lead the way and make sure that households are not left behind. And we've all heard the stories about the households left behind. The towns are really looking at their survival because if somebody can't connect to the internet, it's just a stopper as far as people want. It's depressing home values, property values, keeping people from starting businesses in smaller towns and communities around the state. So in order to level the playing field, this grant program is really important. And to Representative Ober's question, I'm sure that we can take this one line amendment that Senator Bradley and I have worked on that would make projects eligible if they are in the planning stage and not yet under construction as of January 1st of 2021. and incorporate that in any amendment that the representative would bring forward. And I'd be glad to work with you and Senator Bradley to pass those words over to you and help make that possible. Mr. Chairman, I will cease on my testimony and be glad to take any questions.
Thank you, Senator Khan. Senator Representative Ober has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Senator Khan, thank you for your words. As you know, Senator Bradley said I had an amendment that he had already approved. Have you started working on a joint amendment that uses both of those languages? Because we were intending to work on this bill this morning, and this is totally unknown to me until Senator Bradley's secretary was kind enough to email me a copy, but we'd already started here. So have you taken the first steps to make that joint amendment?
I have not, and I was unaware of your amendment, but if you can allow us a day here, I'm sure that we would be able to arrange for that with you.
Further, Representative Ober.
I guess I would like to know if the Senate can then amend this bill on their side on a bill that they have, because I think we're ready to move forward this morning. And this was unknown, but I believe the Senate still has bills that they could use to make this amendment happy. Can that be done, Senator Khan, so you guys can work on this, since nothing's been done on a joint amendment at this point?
I know that they are here on the Senate side. I don't serve on election law and municipal affairs. I would guess it would most likely be on a bill there, but I don't know what's left on their docket at this point.
Anything further, Representative Ober?
No, I was just going to check and see if Jeb might still be online.
Okay. Representative Edwards for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good talking to you again, Senator Khan. I assume you heard the two questions I asked Senator Bradley. I'll just focus on the first one, which is, given that the federal standard is 25 download and 3 upload, and we're at a gig, if a town applies for this and they're, say, at 100 upload and 5 download, or vice versa rather, do they qualify still for the federal grant, or are we really no longer matching? We're taking over the program because they exceed the federal standard. Do you know, sir?
Yeah. I guess I'll take that question, Representative, and offer two perspectives. One is a town currently can set in their RFP a standard that's above the FCC minimum. They can't bar anybody from applying, but they can set a higher criteria. So if a proposal is 25 by 3 from an existing provider, then that's an eligible response to be considered by a town. But a town can elect to not accept any RFP that is below the standard that they set in the RFP. So a town could set a higher standard that it wishes to have for those unserved areas. And I believe that's the way the RSA 33.3 describes the RFP process. So that number one. Number two, I think you could, and I think the Senate Bill 85 allows for a standard to be set for the grant funding that could exceed the minimum of 25.3. I think the grant standard and the statute don't need to parallel each other.
Anything further, Representative Edwards?
Yes, sir. I don't think I was really clear on my example. What I was trying to do is to depict the scenario where the town may already exceed the federal standard, but it's still really poor bandwidth. And our standard at a gig is higher. And so the municipality is in an in-between state between the federal standard and our standard. I'm just curious if we know whether or not at that point, the federal program is even applicable and the state is subsidizing the whole of the investment and not matching, but replacing.
I hear the question now, Representative. Thank you for clarifying. That would be a served community, and the residents of that community that had a 25 megabytes down and 3 megabyte up service, that would be a served household or business.
Thank you. All right, I think Senator Bradley is waiting to give some further answers to some earlier questions. Senator Bradley.
Yes, I think Representative Ober had a question. I'm also trying to testify on another bill in another House committee, so I was going back and forth and I didn't hear her question.
Oh, Jim, I'm sorry. I would like to say your executive assistant sent me Senator Khan's amendment this morning after we had already started our hearing at 10 o'clock, and I appreciated that. I asked Senator Khan, since you had a copy of my amendment already, if he had already taken the steps to go to OLS and say, can we have a combined amendment with this? Because we're going to move this morning and we don't have 2 hearings posted. And he said, no. My second question was there another bill in the Senate that his amendment could be attached to modify this? And he didn't know. And since I asked that, I've been sitting here wondering to myself if that's a piece we could add to the Department of Energy during the Committee of Conference on the Budget, or if Gary Daniels could add that now. So I was trying to find a way to incorporate that we could still go ahead. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so Representative Ober, if you want us to take action in another setting, whether it's HB2 or another bill on the amendment that Senator Khan and I are sponsoring together, we can accommodate that. If that makes your life easier, we'll get it done.
I appreciate that, Senator Bradley, because we do not have another session scheduled in House Finance after this. So I was trying to make that work.
I apologize. Honestly, it's my fault. I had forgotten about this amendment. Apologies in particular to Senator Khan, because I should have known better, but we'll fix it. And again, I'm sorry I didn't have it earlier to you.
No problem. Thank you for working with us.
Yep.
Thank you both. Senator Nordgren for a question.
Senator Nordgren's right here. Thank you.
Representative Nordgren.
This is just a process question. It appears that we have issues in divisions 1 and 2 with bills that we're hearing today that normally would have gone back to the division so they could work on them further. Division 3 is doing that this afternoon at 1 o'clock with the bills we have. I just think we're trying to do too much in one day and finish up things when maybe we need more time and let the divisions carry on their usual work. That's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm not sure whether we will have that division session this afternoon or not. I don't think that decision's been made. All right. Do we have, Andrea, do we have further people waiting to testify?
Yes, we do. We have Chris Norwood, so I will try to bring him in right now.
Thank you. And I see hands up still. If you're finished with your questions, if you'd lower them.
Hello.
Good
Can you hear
morning.
me? Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Chris Norwood, and I'm speaking today on behalf of the New Hampshire Association of Realtors. I'm their volunteer public policy chair for 2021. The committee has heard a lot of technical questions today relative to speeds as well as how to make amendments work, to which I can say I am not familiar with those details. I'm here testifying in support of the need of Senate Bill 85, establishing matching funds for local municipalities. Years ago, before the pandemic, I can tell you that I connected with realtors throughout the state, and I personally was naive about the number of homes in our state that do not have access to reliable internet. And that was all, like I said, pre-COVID. Access to fast, reliable service is no longer an added benefit to a home, but much a necessity. Senator Bradley talked about online schooling, telemedicine, and work from home requirements. Clearly, everything is very, very important to home buyers today. It's not an exaggeration that high-speed broadband is now becoming as essential as water, electricity, and other things that we consider required utilities to make a home operate. And I believe that fast, reliable internet really helps our communities prosper. There was a Department of Commerce study that concluded high-speed internet access increased property values 6%. This obviously helps our local municipalities achieve a higher tax base as well. And it's not just on the residential side. I personally work on the commercial side of the industry, and I can tell you that it's one of the first questions that users of space ask me. And now in pandemic, it's not just the office users, it's also warehouse, distribution, contractors. These businesses require fast and reliable internet. And that's why I ask you to join the New Hampshire Association of Realtors in supporting SB 85. Thank you very much, and I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Norwood. Any questions from the committee? I don't see any. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And Andrea, who do we have next?
We have Maura Weston, which I will bring in now. Maura, if you could please unmute.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mr. Weston.
Great. Thank you very much. Good morning. For the record, my name is Maura Weston. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm testifying on behalf of the New England Cable and Telecommunications Association, NECTA. Our members, including Atlantic Broadband, Charter, and Comcast, are New Hampshire's leading broadband providers with over 450,000 customers in more than 184 communities. Our members are proud to be New Hampshire's first providers to offer gigabit speeds throughout their networks. We are here today to testify in support of Senate Bill 85. New Hampshire's challenges relative to broadband are not unique to rural states. However, with the forthcoming influx of federal dollars that we see on the horizon, we believe that New Hampshire is well positioned to help close the connectivity gap. And this piece of legislation we believe to be critical in that process. NECTA endorses public-private partnerships that are technology and provider neutral to solve the challenge of how best to bring broadband to parts of the state that currently lack access. And that is the approach that this bill takes. Furthermore, Senate Bill 85 includes key safeguards to ensure that public dollars are invested in areas where they are truly needed to connect unserved populations in an efficient, sustainable, and transparent manner. The programs envisioned by Senate Bill 85 will attract, we believe, a broad range of internet service providers capable of building sustainable, high-speed networks in the most cost-efficient manner. Using public-private partnerships will leverage private sector dollars and expertise to get the most out of available state or federal monies. With a finite amount of funds available to solve the remaining connectivity gaps in New Hampshire, Senate Bill 85 correctly allocates dollars to projects that do not have alternative funding available or would not be completed without this program's assistance. NECTA understands the urgent need to serve currently unserved areas in New Hampshire, and we believe that this is the best pathway forward to achieve this goal. And we stand ready to partner with the state and municipalities in New Hampshire to do so. With that, I'm happy to answer questions. And I wanted to just touch on Senator Edwards' question that he asked. Representative Edwards, rather. I would stress that this is an opportunity to serve unserved areas. And so a higher standard of up to a gigabit would not preclude any municipality or communications district or county from pursuing participation in this program. But those dollars allocated through this program would remain focused on unserved areas in whatever the municipality saw to be the best way forward for itself. And I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Weston. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Andrea, how many people do we have that want to speak to us?
We have John Pascarelli, who had previously expressed interest to speak, so I can bring him in.
Any after him?
I do not see any other hands raised at this time, but I will ask that anyone who does want to speak, that they raise their hand at this time.
All right, and I would also ask that if we've heard some of the same testimony that's somewhat repetitious, I'd ask if any of them have anything new to add that they would come on, but if it's more or less to say the same thing, then just to say they support the bill would be fine. Thank you. Mr. Pascarelli, welcome back.
You're currently muted, Mr. Pascarelli.
Hello, Senators. How are we doing today?
Well, we're also mostly representatives here.
Okay, mostly representatives. After listening to all of you folks' in-depth conversation, I came to a few conclusions. One conclusion is that you came up with a federal standard, of 25 down and 3 up, just so that you folks have some valuable information, to toss around. This is a DSL line that I'm currently on, which is a 3 megabyte DSL that I'm trying to operate, the music industry, and it's almost virtually impossible. And I guess my biggest question is, are some of you representatives gonna try to introduce a bill that's gonna allow some of this funding to go above your federal standard? Because I think the federal standard is what I'm on, which you folks have already talked about, is way, way too low. I mean, if you're gonna be reaching out into these rural areas like I am out here in Swansea, and I'm on a old-fashioned analog converted digital line to be here on the internet, that federal standard that you folks are talking about would be just ridiculous to serve the customers in the state of New Hampshire. And I've also been attending a lot of the Zoom meetings with Southwest Regional Planning Committee. I've been voicing my voice, with the Planning Council, and trying to, also bring it to the forefront, that if you're talking about a copper wire which would even include a cable company. Copper wire has its limitations of speeds. Granted, it's a choice that's better than what I'm using. But we have fiber optic networking out here in these telephone poles, which is the superior source of internet, in my opinion. And I think that there should be some of you representatives that should be pushing, to increase that federal standard. Now, I realize that we're talking about the state of New Hampshire and we're talking about the feds, but I mean, I think it should be part of you folks' process that when they try to apply for some of this funding, that, like, for example, I'm on 3 megabyte. I don't want to be disqualified for better internet because I already got 3 megabyte. I don't want to be disqualified because I got 3 megabyte. I don't think that'd be fair. So I think there should be some sort of terminology, to put in there somewhere that if people are going to be upgrading their broadband, they should be upgrading and spending the money wisely to get the best they possibly could get. And just to throw another piece in there, I've been working with Consolidated, and me as just a plain Joe resident out here on my little piece of land. If I want to get this broadband service brought to my home, the quote that I was quoted was $5,000. It's going to cost me $5,000 to get broadband at my home. And, I think if you get a chance to speak with some residents, folks aren't going to be able to afford that. Not only that, I'm in the town of Swansea. The town of Swansea, they can't afford it either. So, I mean, I think we're going to run into some roadblocks, but I wanted a chance to support you guys' bill. I support it. I wanted a chance to reach out to representatives like a large group like this and give you my feedback as a plain Jane resident out here in the field, what I'm experiencing. That's it. I support the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Pascarelli. I think we had some testimony that it would not be restricted to that federal standard, that it would likely, whatever the area was requesting, would be supported. I believe that was the case, but whether we had to go further and to put into another type of cable, I'm not sure whether that's in it or not, but we'll find out later as we go. We still don't know all the rules on the money that's going to be available, and we're waiting and waiting to find out. So when we do find out if it's needed to go to a higher standard, then I'm sure that there will be legislation submitted, but it won't be able to take effect right away. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Pascarelli? Seeing none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Andrea, is there anybody else that has anything original to add?
We have Elisa Stedman, who has raised their hand, if we can bring them in.
All right.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm Lisa Stedman from Troy, New Hampshire. That's also in the Monadnock region. I'm serving on our broadband committee there, and we're in that camp of that group of towns that have proposed to form a private and public partnership with Consolidated Communications. I think there's some feeling that we've lost some opportunity by moving too fast, that perhaps this grant can't benefit us because we already have a partnership proposed with Consolidated. In our partnership, we're going to have a 20-year municipal bond. They're going to pay for the bond, so it's not really a cost to our town. But the folks who do sign up for the Consolidated service will pay a user fee of $9.50 per month until the bond is paid off. So it's not exactly free to the people who want to take advantage of the high-speed internet that's coming to our town. I think that the committee and others are interested in knowing whether this matching grant could help to benefit our town by reducing the end user fee that's being brought on by Consolidated Communications. And we're just not clear about whether the grant funds can be released for that purpose.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions on Ms. Stedman's testimony? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Andrew, is anyone further on this bill?
We do have a Tom Bascom, which I could bring in now.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'm in Greenfield, where we also, like Troy, have a project that has been approved. And we're concerned about the timing, whether or not our project could qualify for this funding. The amendment that Senator Bradley and Senator Khan are proposing is very important to us. That would certainly make a big difference to our cost structure, because if we can get matching funds, then we should be able to reduce the bond amount by half, which would make a significant difference to the subscribers in town. We're also concerned about the overall timing and the rulemaking, and how long this is going to take to get a decision from OSI or whoever ends up putting together that process. So we would encourage the committee to establish aggressive timelines and to pass Senator Bradley and Senator Khan's amendment so that towns may fully participate in this process.
Thank you, Mr. Bascom. Are there any questions on Mr. Bascom's testimony? Thank you for your testimony. Andrea, do we have anyone else?
I see no others wishing to speak.
Thank you. All right, if there's no one else wishing to speak, I'll end the public hearing on House Bill 85. And I'd like to go into an executive session on House Bill 85. And this subject matter was before Division 1. Representative Ober, do you wish to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Mr. Hoffman to present the amendment we have on SB 85, and then Representative Emmerich will be moving ought to pass as amended?
Very good. Mr. Hoffman, can you show that amendment? And let's show us, get the number of it so the clerk can get the number of the amendment first.
I can't move it up.
All right, here it is, 1328. Thank you. Now move it up. Thanks.
So, Mr. Chairman, as Senator Bradley said, he and I were concerned. We both support the bill. The bill takes effect July 1st. This does not change that. But on July 1st, the Office of Strategic Initiatives, which is named in the bill, would cease to exist, and the Department of Energy would take over. So this amendment has contingency language. Should the budget be vetoed, the Office of Strategic Initiatives remains in this bill. Should the budget pass, the duties of the Office of Strategic Initiatives will pass to the Department of Energy, so that there is no lapse in our ability to move forward with these important grants. Senator Bradley spoke to this bill, this amendment. He and I worked on it together before it was drafted. We felt we needed the contingency work, and I thank Senator Bradley for working on the other amendment that he and Mr. Khan will pass on another bill. So Representative Emmerich is recognized for a motion of ought to pass with this amendment, which is 1328H.
So moved.
All right, a motion by Representative Emmerich, seconded by Representative Griffin, to have ought to pass as amended for Senate Bill 85. Further discussion? Normally, we adopt the amendment before we go to an ought to pass as amended. So
I would move the amendment.
all right, let's vote first on the amendment. Clerk will call the roll on the amendment 1328.
Who is the?
I second that, Joe.
Representative Emmerich and Representative Ober.
Okay, thank you. right, Representative Ober,
Yes.
Representative Umberger,
Yes.
Representative Renzullo. Representative Thaburish.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Uriff,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Edwards,
Yes. Off of mute, still yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Wallner,
Yes.
Representative Nogren,
yes,
Representative Bucco,
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Representative Hatch, Representative Rogers,
Yes.
Representative Waltz,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
and Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 21-0 in favor.
And the amendment is adopted. We now go back to the motion by Representative Emmerich, seconded by Representative Griffin for ought to pass as amended by House Bill 1328.
All right, and this was Emmerich and Ober again.
Yes.
Ought to pass as amended. Okay. Representative Ober,
Yes.
Representative Umberger,
Yes.
Representative Renzullo. Representative Thaburish. Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Uriff,
Yes.
Representative Griffin, Representative Edwards,
Yes.
Representative Bean, Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Wallner,
Yes.
Representative Nogren,
yes,
Representative Bucco,
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Representative Hatch, Representative Rogers,
Yes.
Representative Waltz,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray,
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 21-0 in favor of the amendment of the bill.
Mr. Chairman, since this
Motion.
bill has no money, can it go on consent?
I was just about to say that. All right, we have the motion is ought to pass as amended has been adopted. Since it's unanimous, we will put this on consent without
Mr.
objection.
Chairman, could I ask Mr. Hoffman to show Amendment 2021?
Okay, Mr. Hoffman, did you copy that? Amendment 2021 is requested. Which
think-
bill was that for?
That's on 77. I believe Mr. Hoffman walked hard copies up to the finance room, and you have a hard copy in front of you.
It's the number is 1363 that we have in front of us.
Yes, I can
Oh,
share
sorry.
that,
Yes, 16.
or I
1363.
believe, Andrea, I think I emailed that to you as well, so either one of us can.
All right. So if the committee's ready, we'll come out of recess on Senate Bill 77 by presenting the amendment that needed some work. And Mr. Hoffman will walk us through it.
Yes, this amends the bill by adding a section at the end, pushing the effective date down to section 3. So it retains the text of Senate Bill 77 as it came to you, but adds this paragraph. In existing statute, there is a paragraph, Roman numeral 11. So that's why it looks like it's skipping over, but it's actually not.
Thank you for making that point. Okay. Everyone have a chance to look at this. I believe it's done what we requested. Is there a motion we've come out of recess on the exec session on Senate Bill 77? Let me make that clear. We're now out of recess on Senate Bill 77. We're back to a exec session on Senate Bill 77. We have before us Amendment 1363. Is there a motion? Representative Griffin moves that we adopt Amendment 1363. Is there a second? Second by Representative Taberge. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on Amendment 1363 on Amendment 77, Senate Bill 77.
Representative Ober,
Yes.
Representative Umberger,
Yes.
Representative Renzullo. Yes. Representative Taberge.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Uriff,
Yes.
Representative Griffin, Representative Edwards,
Yes.
Representative Bean, Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Wallner,
Yes.
Representative Nordgren,
yes,
Representative Bucco,
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Representative Hatch, Representative Rogers,
Yes.
Representative Walsh,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray,
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 21-0 to adopt the amendment.
All right, we've adopted Amendment 1363. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 77 as amended by Amendment 1363.
So moved. Representative Emmerich.
Representative Emmerich moves. Seconded by Representative Griffin. Ought to pass as amended. Senate Bill 77 ought to pass as amended by Amendment 1363.
And who seconded that, Mr. Chairman?
Griffin.
Griffin, thank you. All right, this is Senate Bill 77. And ought to pass as amended.
Yep.
Representative Ober,
Yes.
Representative Umberger,
Yes.
Representative Renzullo.
Yes.
Representative Taberge,
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Uriff,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Edwards,
Yes.
Representative Bean, Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Wallner, I see the
Yes.
There we go. Thank you. Representative Nordgren,
yes,
Representative Bucco,
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Hatch,
Yes.
Representative Rogers, Representative Rogers,
Yes.
thank you. Representative Walsh,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray,
Yes.
and Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 21-0 in favor of the bill.
Okay, we have adopted Senate Bill 77 as amended. Since there's money in it, I don't
Mr.
think.
Chairman?
Yes. Go ahead, Representative Ober.
Thank you. The actual House rule is if the money is less than $10,000, it can still be on the consent calendar.
Is this less than 10,000?
Yep.
Okay, I guess we can put it on consent. Thank you. All right. Next on our schedule is the public hearing on Senate Bill 98. And we'll open the public hearing on Senate Bill 98. And Do we have somebody here to testify, likely the prime sponsor?
We do. It looks like we have Senator Whitley, who I'll bring in now.
Very good.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Welcome to House Finance.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, almost good afternoon to members of the committee. For the record, my name is Becky Whitley, and I'm honored to serve New Hampshire Senate District 15, which includes the wonderful communities of Concord, Pennacook, Henniker, Hopkinton, and Warner. I'm honored today to bring forth SB 98 relative to the SNAP incentive program. This bill has enjoyed broad support in the Senate with unanimous votes out of committees and in the full Senate. So just very simply, the bill creates a SNAP incentive program in state statute. And this type of program allows SNAP shoppers to purchase additional fruits and vegetables by matching their purchases of fresh produce. SNAP incentives are very popular. They lead to really a triple win for New Hampshire, including more money flowing into the local economy, health benefits for our most vulnerable populations, and new opportunities for our local farmers. There are a variety of stakeholders today who can speak further to the details of the program, but SNAP incentives are actually already active at dozens of farmers markets and 18 grocery stores throughout New Hampshire via the Granite State Market Match and Double Up Food Bucks programs. But these are privately funded programs. SB 98 was introduced to show just a modest state investment and create infrastructure within state government, very limited infrastructure, to be able to draw down additional federal dollars to broaden access to the program for more SNAP recipients. So I'm happy to take any questions, but I will defer the more technical questions to the folks behind me who can speak to the federal programs and the existing programs we have in New Hampshire. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative, excuse me. Thank you, Senator Whitley. Any questions from the committee for the senator? Seeing none. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Next, we have Brendan Cornwell, which I'll bring in now.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to Senate Finance.
Thank you.
Correction, House Finance.
Thank you.
Looking at a Senate bill and getting confused.
Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm Brendan Cornwell from the New Hampshire Food Bank, and I am the New Hampshire Nutrition Incentive Network Coordinator. We have two incentive programs in the state of New Hampshire, Granite State Market Match and Double Up Food Bucks. These two incentive programs offer SNAP customers the opportunity to double their SNAP dollars on fruits and vegetables at participating locally owned independent retailers, farmers markets, farm stands, and CSAs. When a SNAP shopper uses their card at one of these participating locations to, for example, purchase a melon that costs $2, the shopper is only charged $1 and the other $1 is covered by the incentive program. This gives the SNAP customer the ability to expand on benefits they're given to purchase healthy food. The USDA requires a non-federal cash match as part of the Gus Schumacher Nutrition Incentive Program grant, a permanent mandatory funded program of the Farm Bill. The funds asked for in SB 98 only account for 25% of our required match. However, when we are talking about our match, that is only a fraction of the influx of federal funds these programs bring and keep in the state of New Hampshire. SB 98 accounts for a total of 3% of the total infusion of funds. When you look at the full picture, the inrush of funds to New Hampshire is $10,196,837. That is the sum of everything. All the incentives, match, admin, marketing, and federal SNAP dollars being spent and kept in the Granite State. That is the amount that these programs will help infuse into the New Hampshire economy over the next 2 years. That $10,196,837 is being spent at locally owned independent grocery stores and farmers markets and co-ops instead of big box and superstores. These independent stores are more neighborhood focused, they support their local communities, and they pay their workers a living wage. Produce from that $10,196,837 is spent on fruits and vegetables grown by New Hampshire farmers instead of grown by farmers from California or Mexico. It enables New Hampshire farmers to hire additional workers, upgrade equipment, and expand their operations. These incentive programs are good for New Hampshire. They take federal money and keep it in the state and help New Hampshire's economy grow. Please support SB 98 and keep these funds in New Hampshire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cornwell. Are there any questions from the committee? Seeing none, do we have anybody else?
Yes, we do. We have an Eileen Laponis, which I will bring in now.
Still good morning. Thank you very much, Division 3, for hearing from us. My name is Eileen Laponis. I'm the Executive Director of the New Hampshire Food Bank, and with me, and we are both fully vaccinated.
My name is Elise Bolster. I'm the registered dietitian and nutrition programs manager here at the New Hampshire Food Bank. I get to oversee the SNAP incentive program and work closely with Brendan Cornwell.
We want to give you a visual of the farmers markets that our SNAP incentives are purchased at. We are very hopeful that you participate in this and support this program with us. We have been the fiscal agent for Granite State Market Match for over 10 years. And most recently, the fiscal agent for Double Up Food Bucks. So we hold 2 of the incentive programs in the state. We are very excited because this is a natural extension of our programming. Our nutrition programming is really geared at bringing more nutritious foods to our New Hampshire food insecure to hopefully positively impact their health and lower our overall healthcare costs in the state. This program is part of our SNAP outreach. We are one of the only SNAP outreach programs in the state. That's where we help folks who want to sign up for SNAP incentives, otherwise formerly known as food stamps. We also run a Cooking Matters program. That's nutrition education for families, individuals, and children, where they learn how to cook on a budget, unit pricing, stretch their dollar, and really get more from what they purchase at the grocery store. This is an example behind us of what they could get if they were able to purchase the program, purchase the incentive program, how much more they could purchase in fruits and vegetables. We also recently started a program that also benefits New Hampshire farmers, New Hampshire Feeding New Hampshire, where we have a certain amount of money that we privately raise to give to our over 400 partner agencies throughout the state, where they are able to purchase directly from our local farmers and have that local produce in their pantries and soup kitchens. We are doing this, as we said, to extend our nutrition programming to hopefully positively impact the health of our most vulnerable in our state, our food insecure. We are trying to make this as painless to the state as possible. We do all the reporting. We are just the fiscal agent and they're merely a pass through. The only thing that DHS would have to do is write the RSA for us. RFA, my apologies. We are participating with 50 farmers markets throughout the state right now and 18 retail stores, which Brendan outlined to you, are independent and locally focused. And last year, over 8,000 families participated in this program. It is very popular and very helpful to our food insecure to have access to this nutritious food. With that, I'd like to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none. Are there any other people waiting to testify, and about how many do we have?
We have 2 signed up and we have 2 hands raised that are not on the list.
Okay, let's hope we don't hear a lot of more repetitious. We know that this is an important program, and let's see who we have next.
Sure. Next, we have Rebecca Wachowski, and I will bring them in now.
Good morning. Welcome to Finance Committee.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Wojtkowski, and I'm here today on behalf of New Futures to state our strong support of SB 98. And I promise I will not be repetitious. I just want to make 2 points. Number one, New Futures is a nonprofit, nonpartisan advocacy organization that advocates to improve the health and wellness of all New Hampshire's residents, especially our young children. We stand in strong support of Senate Bill 988 because we know research has shown that The impact of certain adversity, including poverty and early childhood, negatively impacts lifelong health outcomes and increased state costs. We have heard today that SNAP incentive programs provide opportunity for healthy foods for our most at-risk families. And we know that access to these foods combats the negative health and life impacts of poverty and reduces lifelong costs to the state. SNAP incentive programs also support a healthy triple bottom line, as you heard Senator Whitley explain in the beginning. And this is by increasing access to healthy foods for families, increasing business for farmers, and providing a boost to our local economy. And you heard Brendan speak about that $10 million number. So in sum, we want to say that the positive impacts of these programs are so essential to our families in New Hampshire, and even more critical given the challenges COVID-19 has placed on families facing food insecurity. For these reasons, New Futures urges the committee to vote Senate Bill 98 ought to pass. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. And who do we have next?
Next we have Elizabeth Alpern. Bringing them in now.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Finance Committee.
Hello, thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. My name is Liz Alpern, and I wanted to share that I was part of launching Double Up Food Bucks in New Hampshire in 2017. And back in 2017, we worked very closely with Associated Grocers of New England, based in Pembroke, to identify stores that would be a good fit for the program. We actually started with 4 stores in this program, and as you've heard, we now have grown to 18 participating retailers in 9 counties throughout the state of New Hampshire. And in particular, I wanted to share that our local retailers really do benefit from participating in this program, and we currently have more stores that want to participate in this program than we can possibly onboard given the budget. And so our hope is to expand the reach of this program beyond those 18 stores. And I wanted to just offer one example. We work with Berlin Marketplace in Berlin, New Hampshire. Berlin Marketplace was one of the original stores to join the program in 2017, the pilot program. This is the only fully operational grocery store in Berlin. It serves a really wide array of community members, and the program has continued to grow in that store and in that community over time. It attracts new customers to the store, and it also helps retain existing customers so that they are shopping locally in Berlin and not just going down the street to Walmart. In particular, what touches me so much about working at a store like Berlin Marketplace is that the managers there and the cashiers there, they know the shoppers. They know the farmers who sell them the summer squash, the mushrooms, the herbs during the growing season. And this is an independently owned store that has benefited the community for decades. And programs like Double Up Food Bucks help these stores continue to thrive in those local communities. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions about the retail aspect of the program and how it benefits all of our local business owners. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for the program. Who do we have next?
That completed our list of signed up testimony. However, we have 2 other hands raised. So Alan Reitz would be the next I will bring in.
Good afternoon, Mr. Reitz. Welcome to the Finance Committee.
Good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm Alan Reitz with the Hanover Co-op Food Stores. I've worked at this cooperative since 1995. I'm also a Plainfield resident, and I thank you again for this opportunity to speak, Mr. Chair. Our food co-op is in strong support of SB 98. As Liz Alpern had pointed out, we are one of the retailers, one of those that has grown into the program. And we happen to be one of the larger retailers in the state. When we became part of it, we saw immediate impact. And I'm not talking about to our bottom line specifically. I'm talking about to the number of signups for this program that surprised even us, a store that has been selling groceries in New Hampshire since 1936. So, since the time we joined the program, SNAP recipients shopping here have purchased over $120,000 in fresh produce. And that allowed us to really serve some of the most vulnerable in our communities and really double their buying power for fruits and vegetables using those SNAP funds. So just to get right to the point, families with limited income, they know the value that fresh produce provides. We've seen them jump at the chance to eat nutritiously and buy from local farmers. So this is about helping local people with resources that are close to home. And I urge your support and thank you, because we want to double up state and federal dollars and spread the health. I'm happy to answer any questions I can from the retailer's perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Reitz. Any questions from the committee members? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And who do we have next?
We have a Tiffany Dodier.
Hello, Chairman and the committee, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Tiffany Dodier, and I'm a registered dietitian speaking on behalf of the New Hampshire Public Health Association, which is a statewide membership organization composed of healthcare and public health professionals. For the last 25 years, we've advocated for policies that improve the health of New Hampshire's people. And so today I wanted to submit testimony on behalf of our members and partners to state our strong support of SB 98 relative to the SNAP incentive program. And what I really wanted to foot stomp to the committee is that this is an evidence-based best practices program that is actually shown in studies to increase servings of fruits and vegetables by SNAP participants by as much as 5 servings per day. And so what, of course, that equals out to is more health and more prosperity and better economics for the state. So for SB 98, it's not just about improving the access to food for the hungry, but it's also about improving access to healthy foods for those that are suffering from lower diet quality, meaning the foods that we eat that nourish our bodies in the Granite State that can impact not only their health, but their productivity and their prosperity in New Hampshire's economy. And so with that, I'll take any questions about the health benefits and the research behind the actual SNAP incentive programs.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
All right. Andrea, any further people waiting to testify?
We have no other hands raised at this time.
Okay, seeing no one else to testify, I will close the hearing on Senate Bill 98 and move into the executive session on this bill.
Mr. Chair, I believe Representative Umberger has a question.
Okay, Representative Umberger, sorry. Did you want a question before I close the hearing?
Yes, I think so. If I understood this bill, this is a one-time incentive for 1 year. Is that correct?
The finance or the fiscal note just shows it for 2022 and not for 2023.
That's correct. And I was concerned that if we are going to start this program, that it would appear to me that it should be for more than 1 year, because it is not a, it didn't appear to be a 1 year program. It seemed to me as I was listening to the testimony that this is something that should occur more than 1 year. And I guess my other question would be, do we know if the Senate is planning to put this into the budget? Or are we just going to allocate this money and hope for the best?
All right, let's see if we have anybody from the Senate that can answer this question. Anybody in the Senate that's still listening? Any of the food bank people that might know the answer?
So I do have Eileen, who we could
All right,
maybe.
let's see if Eileen can answer the question. Welcome back, Eileen. I call her by her first name because I've known her for 20 years.
It actually appears on the fiscal note for 150,000 in fiscal 22, but is broken down in expenditures over fiscal 22 and fiscal 23 of 75,000 each. I mean, we would be more than happy to come back every year and ask for it in each biennium budget if you would support it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, I'm sorry I did not go down to the fiscal note. I apologize. I was, thank you very much, Eileen.
No problem.
All right. Representative Edwards, do you have a question for Ms. Laponis?
I don't. I was wondering when we were going to get to the exec session on this because I have an amendment and a lot of research that I've done that I'm just looking for the appropriate time to share with the committee.
Okay. If there's no further questions in the public hearing section, we'll close that again and we'll go to the exec session. Representative Edwards is Representative Nordgren. Did you have a question in?
Well, I guess I'm just confused because the calendar lists Division 3 meeting at 1 o'clock on this bill and our other bill. So I just wanted a clarification.
We're going to find out now whether Representative Edwards thinks he still needs to have that. So there was some thought he may cancel it.
Well, the division members haven't heard that, and neither has the public. Thank you.
Representative Edwards is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I first got this bill, I began to research it by contacting sponsors and co-sponsors. And I went into it initially with a couple of thoughts about it. One is that when you look at the underlying federal program, the Gus Schumacher program, on their website, they state that the federal government is running a pilot program on this through through fiscal year 23, which means that October 1, 2023, if their website is correct, the program will expire. So I thought it would be appropriate for us to have a suspense date included so that if the program expired and there no longer was any federal money, then the state component of this would automatically sunset. I then subsequently had a long conversation with Ms. Chris Santinella of DHHS and Ms. Maureen Burke, also of DHHS. And Ms. Burke, who follows us pretty closely, assures me that although the program at the federal level is scheduled to sunset at the end of FY23, she believes that the administration has indicated that they're going to continue the program past that. And so, so if that's the case, then my interest in a sunset dissipates a bit. The other part of this was I thought that since there was a grant program there, that we should ask the department to go ahead and apply for a federal match so that the state's share was reduced in half. And again, both Ms. Santinella and Ms. Burke assured me that the grants are being applied for, and they're being applied for by our two private charitable organizations in the state that have been running this program for a while. So my interest in that is sloughed off. So, so although I had OLS create an amendment to this, I'm not seeing a compelling need to complicate the legislative process with a big debate on it, because I don't know that either of the reasons for the amendment are as compelling as I thought they were initially. So I don't see a need to debate the amendment. And because we've had so much testimony in today's finance committee from people who were scheduled to come in at 1 o'clock to Division 3, I would be fine accepting today's testimony to be adequate to our purposes. Those purposes are furthered with the knowledge that Senator Aaron Hennessy has stated that if we were to retain this bill, she is at a point in the budgetary process where she can take care of it and make sure it gets into the budget. And so, because the Senate is looks to be committed to funding this, and because my amendment I think is largely moot, I would ask the committee to consider that we go ahead and trust Senator Hennessy to take care of the funding for us on the Senate side of this, and that when we get an opportunity that we vote to retain this bill.
Thank you, Representative Edwards. Any further comments from the committee? I guess I'll entertain a motion to retain Senate Bill 98 on the promise that it will likely be funded in the budget.
I move, sir, that we retain Senate Bill 98 on the promise that the Senate is going to fund this.
Second.
Motion by Representative Edwards, seconded by Representative Erf, that the bill be retained. Is there any further discussion from the committee members? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on retain for Senate Bill 98.
Right, this bill is to retain Senate Bill 98.
Retain, the motion is retain Senate Bill 98.
Representative Ober,
I think she had to go. She had a deadline.
Representative Umberger,
Yes.
Representative Renzullo. Representative Thavarish.
Yeah.
Representative Pedri votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Erf,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Edwards,
Yes.
Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Wallner,
No.
Representative Nordgren,
No.
Representative Bucco,
No.
Representative Grassi,
No.
Representative Hatch, Representative Rogers,
No.
Representative Walls,
No.
Representative Heath,
No.
Representative Murray,
No.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 11-9 in favor of retention.
Okay, motion to retain is adopted. This does not need to go in the calendar except to list it as being retained.
Mr. Chair.
The last
Mis-
bill we, any
Mr.
question?
Chair.
Representative Edwards.
Just because it's seems like an appropriate spot here, I think because of this, I'll end up canceling today's meeting. I'll go ahead and open it at 1 o'clock because it's on the calendar, but then I'll close it shortly thereafter.
Thank you. Thank you for that announcement. All right, next on our schedule is Senate Bill 152 relative to affordable housing programs. I'll open the public hearing on Senate Bill 152. And we have the sponsor to speak to it,
Yes, we do, Mr. Chair.
Senator Gray.
Senator Gray. Oh, you just unmuted.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. This is Shannon Gerard, Assistant to Senator Gray. He is in election law right now, chairing his committee, so I will be simply introducing Senate Bill 152 FNA for the committee.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Shannon Gerard, Assistant to Senator James Gray, who represents Senate District 6 and is chairing the election law at this time and currently unable to attend. The senator asked if I could simply introduce, act relative to affordable housing program funding, and defer any questions to him in regards to this bill. I would like to mention, though, Mr. Chair, that the Department of Health and Human Services should also be here to testify and answer any questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Any
you.
Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next person.
Mr. Chair, it does look like Senator Gray is with us, but maybe under another name. So I will.
Oh, all right. We'll listen to Senator Gray. Good afternoon, Senator.
Good afternoon. Shannon did a wonderful job introducing the bill. Since its introduction, Health and Human Services has testimony that they will provide about the need for the bill, and I will defer to them. But again, I'd like to thank Shannon for doing that. I just got out of executive session and was just able to catch her full speech.
Very good. Are you finished with that other session or you're going right back to it?
No, I'm finished with that, and I have a break for 35 minutes till my next one.
Very good. Any questions? I see Representative Edwards has his hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Gray, thank you for talking to me last week or the week before about this bill. And I understand your relationship to it and how you're working with the governor's office and the department. I just happened to reread it again, and for the first time, it popped out at me that with this in the RSA, the commissioner could potentially extend the timeline for repayments indefinitely without any limitation to how far that they could be extended, to the effect of canceling the repayment altogether. Do you think that was the intent of this legislation, or do you disagree with me that that may be the effect of this legislation?
The original wording of that did come from the governor's office, but when Health and Human Services testifies, they will tell you that both sections of the bill are not needed, and will give you some indication of where they're already covered. So although your question is interesting, I think it'll be moot by the time you get to acting on the bill.
My favorite word today. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator. Did I hear you say that HHS has the funds for this $5 million a year?
They will testify as to the need for the bill, and I believe they will be telling you that both sections are already covered.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anything further from the committee? All right, then Andrew, you're moving on to the next person.
Next, we have Chris Centaniello. I'll bring them in now.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Chris Santinello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, sometimes it goes back and forth. I am here from the Department of Health and Human Services, and I'm here to talk about sections 1 and sections 2 in Senate Bill 152. Section 1 relates to the 1915I state plan amendment to the Medicaid program for supportive services to assist individuals and families to obtain and maintain their housing. This is actually already mandated by House Bill 4 in 2019, and the department is actually actively working with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid on moving this state plan amendment forward. We actually submitted a draft last month to CMS. We received some initial feedback, are making those modifications, and we actually anticipate posting the the draft state plan amendment by the end of this month so that we can submit it to CMS for approval, and then we'll be able to provide that service. So we're already well underway in making this happen. So that piece really isn't necessary as part of this Senate bill.
Thank you very much. So are you saying the bill is unnecessary?
The section 1, and then for section 2, that is no longer necessary because actually the department through its omnibus bill in section 11 actually asked to have this fund removed because the way and creating a housing stability fund, which we have included in our current budget. The issue with the existing homeless access revolving loan fund is it's very specific to first month's rent security deposit or people who are literally homeless. And the problem is that it doesn't allow for other forms of assistance security deposit, first month's rent for people who are unstably housed, or people who, a lot of people, there's this term called double up, and that's when someone may be living with family or living with people, couch surfing and all of that, and they're not considered technically homeless, but yet we can't assist those individuals in the current structure. And so also the way the current homeless housing access revolving loan fund is funded, it doesn't allow for any administrative expenses for the partner agencies. And so in the last biennium, we actually added $1 million in the for the eviction prevention funds, and that helps people who are homeless, but it also assists us to support people before they become homeless to remain in their housing, because we know that that's what our ultimate goal is. And it's much more comprehensive. And so because we have that fund, this is not really necessary at this moment in time.
Thank you. So the results, if we make this bill inexpedient, there's no change in your program.
Correct.
Thank you. Any further questions from the committee? Seeing none, who do we have next? Thank you very much, Ms. Santaniello.
Next, we have Tom DeRosa.
Mr. DeRosa, welcome to the House Finance Committee.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tom DeRosa, and I serve as the Communications and Engagement Manager of Housing Action New Hampshire. We are a statewide coalition of 80 organizations united around affordable housing policy and ending homelessness in New Hampshire. We're in support of SB 152. Given what the department just testified and what they just said, I just want to say we're glad that Senator Gray took an interest in this, and we look forward to watching the waiver come through.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. DeRosa? Seeing none, who do we have next?
We have Molly Lynch.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. I actually do not need to testify, but thank you though for calling on me.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for attending. Who is next?
We do not have anyone else with their hand raised, and that completed our list.
Okay, that completes our list. I will close the hearing, the public hearing on Senate Bill 152. And I will move to an exec session on Senate Bill 152. Is there anybody in the committee wishes to discuss it in Senate Bill 152? Representative Edwards.
I'm happy with the discussion. I just thought I'd make the motion that we ITL SB 152 based on the department's testimony.
Representative Edwards moves inexpedient to legislate. Is there a second? Second from Representative Taberge. Further discussion? Back to Representative Edwards, or did you lower your hand?
I just lowered my hand. I think the department's testimony said it all.
Thank you very much. All right. The motion before us is inexpedient to legislate. Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will call the roll on the motion of inexpedient to legislate for Senate Bill 152.
This is inexpedient to legislate. Representative Over. Representative Umberger.
Yes.
We can barely hear you, Joe.
How's that?
Better.
I'd like to be perfect.
You're just better.
Representative Redzullo. Representative Taberge. Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative Griffin. Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Lynn.
Yes.
Representative Wallner.
Yes.
Representative Nordgren.
yes,
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hatch. Representative Rogers.
Yes.
Representative Walls.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 20-0 to ITL this motion.
Senate Bill 152 is inexpedient to legislate by your vote. All right, let's review what we've done with the
Sir?
bills. Yes.
Sir? Should we put that on consent?
Well, it did have money in it.
No, I mean, as an ITL, doesn't the whole house have to vote on it? And if so, shouldn't we just put it on the consent calendar as an ITL?
Well, not when it has money in it. It's got enough, it's got like $10 million in it, so we won't put it that way, and I guess we'll have to have it on the regular calendar.
Thank you for the education.
Okay, so let me see. I don't have a note here. I believe, so here's our action for today. Senate Bill 77 was ought to pass as amended. Senate Bill 82, Joe, what was the final action on that?
Senate Bill 82, Senate Bill 82, you would have to ask.
I've got the rest of them, but for some reason, I don't have a note on that one.
It was ITL 82.
82 was ITL. All right, that was inexpedient. Senate Bill 85 was ought to pass as amended. Senate Bill 98 was retained. And Senate Bill 152 was inexpedient to legislate. I appreciate you all being here.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
SB 77 was OTPA.
I thought I said that.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. If you did, I apologize.
All right, yeah, OTPA on Senate Bill 77. And we came to it a little late because we had to change the amendment, get it right. So, all right, very good. I got an announcement later for people on Division 3. We have a setup to tour this afternoon, the secure psychiatric unit. So if you're not already signed up, let me know right now. Representative Edwards, announcement. Unmute.
In talking with Paula Mattis, they need to have like 48 hours so they can do a background check. They can't just have people show up. Representative Verf was a late addition who almost was told no on Friday because he was too late. So I think we can set up another tour, but it's all, the inn is full for today. No more participants.
So who is it set up for today?
You, Representative Erf, and myself. And then
That's
we
right.
can set up another one at another date. We
Okay.
had tried last Monday and we just had a lot of people from Division 3 unable to do it Monday. And we just should set up a second one if people still want to go.
All right, so anybody in Division 3, get in touch with the Division 3 Chairman, Senator Representative Edwards, if you want to go, but the three of us will be going this afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
I really think that other folks should be allowed to go on that tour. If you have never been to the secure psychiatric place, I think it's informative, and it's something that all of us, I think, on finance certainly need to be aware of. So I just ask that somebody extend an invitation to the remainder of the committee. I recognize that Division 3, looks at that more carefully than the rest of us, but it certainly is an eye-opening experience.
Thank you, Representative Umberger. I just went to Division 3 because I thought it wouldn't be difficult to add a couple more people. But everyone that in the committee is hereby invited. Representative Edwards will set up the appropriate thing and realize that it has to be 48 hours in advance. And they probably want to look at all your background investigation, which I'm sure is no problem. But let that be done. Yes, you're smiling because we both had top secret clearances where they dig into everything. Thank you. All right, anything else for the committee? I appreciate your attendance, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Motion by Representative Petrie, seconded by, who seconded? Representative. All right. All right, and since we have a motion and a second, we don't need to do a roll call. So we are adjourned. Thank you all for attending.